Dear friends, today we have with us the federal member for FENA and also the Assistant Minister for Treasury, Employment, Competitions and Charities. Dr. Andrew Lee, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Dr. Lee, let's begin by asking you the first question, which is, on everyone's mind in this upcoming federal elections, that is cost of living. And of course, there are lots of numbers and, there's a budget and things like that, which economists analyze. But when one is talking about day-to-day practical living, people have really felt the pinch in the last couple of years. So how would, a re-elected Labour government address that issue?
We faced a global inflation challenge, and you've seen inflation spike in many other countries, in many cases higher than it spiked in Australia. When we came to office, inflation was nearly 3 times the rate that it is now. We've now got inflation back inside the Reserve Bank's target band, sitting at 2.4% at the moment. And we've done that uniquely in Australian history without causing mass joblessness. In the 1970s, 1980s and 1990s, Australia managed to reduce inflation only by putting thousands of people out of work. Through our term of government, we've maintained a 3.8% average rate of unemployment, the lowest average rate of unemployment in 50 years. While countries such as New Zealand have gone into recession in their battle against inflation, Australia has managed to stay out of recession. But we know there's more to be done. Under us, Australians will be getting energy bill rebates. All Australian income taxpayers will see a cut in their income tax. And that's in contrast with the opposition, who didn't want energy bill relief and who will increase taxes on all Australians if they win office.
Dr. Lee, there's also a question about some security issues because there was, there were like, say, for instance, two temples, Hindu temples that were vandalized in, Canberra last year. And, and something like this was, unheard of, or, even when I lived in Canberra over a decade ago, was unthinkable. What would you like to say to the general community at large? I mean, of course, Australia is still among the safest countries in the world, but there is this sense, there's this underlying anxiety that, that security is something that's probably not as good as it used to be before. So how would you like to address that?
Yes, the Hindu Temple and Cultural Centre in Florey, in my electorate, is a really treasured part of the community. It's a place of worship for many Canberra Hindus, but it's also a reminder of the value of multiculturalism to Canberra. Canberra's biggest festival is the Multicultural Festival, and I think that says a lot about the character of this city. So I was really troubled by the break-ins that occurred last year and also further vandalism that's taken place this year. Talking to members of the community when I was there the other night for a Hindu New Year celebration, their sense was that this was delinquent teens rather than the particular religiously motivated targeting of a community. But nonetheless, there's a huge sense of frustration when you put all of that work into building such a fantastic cultural and community asset to have it damaged by thoughtless teens. We're working with the Australian Federal Police in order to find the culprits, and the federal government has put forward money in the budget, which has been used by religious organisations in my electorate to further strengthen security around religious places of worship.
Yeah, and Dr. Lee, I would like to ask you because there's been a large influx of the Indian diaspora in the last decade or so. So, if I were to ask you that, in your opinion, what has been the contribution of the diaspora, and especially in the ACT?
Look, it's been huge. India is a technology superpower, and Indian Australians are contributing as doctors and architects, as lawyers and as builders. We see the Indian community making a huge contribution right across Australia, and certainly in my electorate of FENA, which is the most multicultural of the Canberra electorates. I've got a strong connection to India. I spent a month travelling through there as a 20-something and had the opportunity at the time to meet the then General Secretary of the BJP, Narendra Modi, and spend an hour talking with him about his views about India. I was very pleased when he came to speak to the Parliament to get him to sign the frame around a photograph of the two of us, which had been taken a couple of decades earlier. Now, as my friend said to me, Mr. Modi looks like he hasn't aged a day. Andrew, you look like you've aged 20 years. He's certainly a strong leader for India, and the keen ties to Australia were reinforced by Prime Minister Modi's visit to Australia.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, the ACT has been held by Labour, for a very long time, and it's a safe Labour seat. But overall, if I were to ask you, what is your sense of, the upcoming elections? And we have addressed the cost of living, but other than that, if there were 3 points, which you would, if I could ask you that, why should people go back, and vote for the Labour government? What would they be?
Well, the first one will be that Labor will protect health. You know that Labor was the party that created Medicare, and we've always campaigned to make it stronger. Peter Dutton, on the other hand, was voted as the worst health minister in Australia in 50 years by Australia's doctors. The second big one is what we're doing to ensure that Australians pay less tax. Every Australian income taxpayer will get a tax cut under us. Every Australian household will get energy bill rebates. It's exactly the opposite story under the opposition, who would put up taxes for all Australians. The first time I can remember an opposition going to the Australian people with a plan of that kind. And the third is what would happen to the public service if the Dutton government were to be elected. Cutting 1 in 5 public servants is a more savage cut than is being contemplated in the United States under Doge. It would massively damage public services, increase wait times for Australians, and cause huge numbers of people to be unemployed. We just can't run a 21st century economy based on a public service which is 2006 levels. We've got the National Disability Insurance Scheme, big procurements like AUKUS, a much more complicated economy to be thinking about. All of that demands a right-sized public service, which you've got under us.
Yeah, and also, since you're the Assistant Minister for Treasury and, it's connected to economics, I mean, how do you see, the impacts of what's happening globally in geoeconomics and, especially with the tariffs in, America, and then the security situation in the Indo-Pacific, given that both America and China, big partners for Australia. So how do you see Australia navigating that front? Are we adequately prepared?
Yeah, I wrote a book a few years ago called Choosing Openness, Why Global Engagement is Best for Australia. And part of that was making the case for low tariffs and the benefits to a trading nation like Australia from being able to specialise in what we do best and trade with the rest of the world. Trade has made Australia more prosperous, and at the times when we have cut ourselves off from the world, our prosperity has dwindled. The latest international forecasts for global growth have just been downgraded. And the chief reason that the experts put around that is the prospect of the tariffs that the United States are putting on and the impact that will have on global supply chains. We've made the case to our American friends that tariffs are not in the interests of American consumers. They will put prices up and increase inflation for American consumers. And they're also not in the interest of the rest of the world, including Australia. And we'll continue to make that strong case. America's withdrawal from security apparatuses and from foreign aid is also a decision that we have made the case against. Obviously, the Trump administration takes a different approach than the Biden administration on this. Where Australia has the capacity to do so, we'll step forward in order to maintain that strong presence, particularly in our region. But it's no great surprise that the Trump administration takes a more isolationist view than previous American governments. They were honest about that in the campaign, and that's what they're delivering in government.
Yeah. And just lastly, given these developments, how important does Australia's relationship with India become? I mean, it was already important, but do you think it becomes a lot more critical now. And also we received some bad news coming out from India. There was a terror attack in India, in Pahalgam. How important it is to to condemn terrorism wherever it happens, and to take this issue very seriously, because even a few terrorists can create a lot of havoc.
Yes, my condolences to the victims of the Pahalgam attacks. I've just been reading about them this morning, and it's a real shock to see what has happened there, and a reminder of the dangers of that terrorism poses. Australia unequivocally condemns these terrorist attacks, as we have past terrorist attacks. And it's a reminder of the challenges of an increasingly fragmented and unpredictable world. We do need to be working together on these shared security challenges. Australia welcomes the many levels on which we engage with India. That goes right through from our cultural diplomacy to the trade relationships, the people-to-people links, and the security architecture. We've done this recognising India's long-standing approach of non-alignment, but also understanding the value to both our countries of working together on shared challenges, whether that's climate change or people smuggling, whether it's improving health and education around the world. India is a superpower with big ambitions to make a difference in the world. Australia understands the value that we gain from that deeper engagement. And as somebody who's very much enjoyed visiting India in the past, and who's planning to take my kids there for a holiday at the end of the year, I understand that value of continuing to deepen the ties between our countries.
Yeah. So I have to ask you lastly, what's your favorite Indian dish, since you are very acquainted with Indian culture? So I have to ask you that.
Look, I think hard to go past a good butter chicken. But as I've moved a bit more away from meat, I've come to enjoy the different textures of dals, and I think I'd always, when I was younger, I'd sort of dismissed dal as kind of a simple dish. Now I really admire the textures and the spices in a good dal. So maybe young Andrew would have said butter chicken, older Andrew says dal. How about you?
Well, I love the whole gamut of Indian food. I mean, but I'm particularly fond of dosa, like, which is a South Indian dish. So love that. I could have that morning, noon, night. But Dr. Andrew Lee, thank you so much for giving us your time today, and good luck with the elections.
Thank you. Really appreciate the conversation.
Thank you.